Do you wear protective eyewear in the field? That's an important question. One that we're going to answer today on Gun Talk Hunt with Scott Melton of Gatorz.
Hey, I'm KJ, dedicated lifelong hunter here. If you got an interest in all things hunting, you're in the right spot. Whether chasing quail across the plains of Oklahoma or in pursuit of elk in the backcountry of British Columbia, you'll always find me on the hunt.
All right, welcome in, Gun Talk Hunters. I'm your host, KJ. Welcome to another week, another episode. And man, it's kind of a downtime right now in hunting season. So we're all kind of scrambling to see what we've got and what we need to do. I got a couple of thoughts for you, because really what you should be focusing on right now is reevaluating your pack, reevaluating your systems, and how you go about things moving forward. I have an idea for you, because we're bringing in Mr. Scott Melton out of Gatorz Eyewear. Man, that's a new one, Scott. Like, they sprung onto the scene in what, 2015?
Yeah, we actually been around for quite a while, about 28 years.
Okay.
Different deals. And then about 15, 20 years ago, we're out of Carlsbad area and got picked up at a drop zone. So with the aluminum sunglass and the wrap, they got really big with skydiving. You're able to adjust them. They wrapped, kept the wind out, stayed on your face. That kind of naturally transitioned in that area with special operations. That's kind of where we got, a lot more of our exposure within the community. And then obviously branching out now into, following from the special operations and military shooting world and hunting, which hunting's a kind of a passion and lifelong thing of mine also. So fits in well.
That's good, because, man, this episode is actually brought to you by Ruger, and they make one heck of an American rifle. So check them out. So talking about reevaluating your pack, and I know you do this at the end of the year, and it makes me reevaluate. Like, I go kind of head to toe. Like, I kind of look at, even hats I wear, like, okay, this hat really did not work with, shooting a rifle or whatever it is. What's your off season look like? What's a typical off season for Scott look like?
The same thing. So going over gear, still getting out training, testing. I live out in Arizona, so the off season for me is really hot. So it involves a little bit of travel.
You're going to cooler temps, man.
Yeah. You get out of the desert heat. But yeah, it's going over your gear. It's looking at the new gear, testing stuff out, using that downtime to get prepared for that season, and just really doing some research, trying new things. And then, of course, just training and make sure your gear's ready to go for the next season.
So I sat there this weekend, it's actually really funny. So this weekend, like how my gear starts out, my gear is some of the most squared away gear. Like every tub has a label. Like I am super detail oriented when it comes to my off season planning. And so I start gathering everything together, and I'm like, holy crap, I'm the most like disgusting person I know, because it's just scattered everywhere. Like, I mean, from one end of the house to the other. Like, that's really that's how I live my hunting season. It's just like, okay, grab this, go. And then you're switching in and out of packs, because you're always like kind of modifying, as if you will. And that's really where I look at it is my gosh, it's taken me almost a week to like put the genie back in the bottle.
Yeah. It's worse than putting away Christmas decorations.
Oh, no. Christmas decorations in my house go back quick, and they go back. I'm telling you, within an hour, I am done putting up Christmas decorations. Done.
Yeah. Yeah. The gear. So, my season actually, kind of in the desert and hunting just ended this last weekend with quail season closing here in Arizona. So that was kind of the end of my season going into there.
So you hunt a lot of birds then, huh?
Yeah. Where I live out here in Arizona, I'm 20 minutes out in the desert. We have a little camp set up out in the desert. Our friends out on the farmlands got a trailer park out there. So we're out all the time hunting birds out in the desert.
I tell you, those are honestly some of the fondest memories I have as kind of growing up in hunting.
Yeah.
Bird hunting was the thing to do. Western Oklahoma, phenomenal quail hunting. When I was growing up, my gosh, that was a destination trip for anyone who was interested in quail, and just bird hunting in general. And it gets you to thinking. And I remember as a kid, just not where my dad didn't give me protective eyewear to
Mhm.
use in the field. Like, and sometimes I ask him, I was like, Dad, did you really like me? Like, like every once in a while, I'm kind of like, I mean, but growing up, like nowadays, it's a lot different. Like, we're very safety oriented. My kids wear shooting glasses while they are in the field. But growing up, we never had anything ever.
Yeah. Or seatbelts.
Oh gosh, no, huh? Rolling around in a El Camino, like I mean, definitely
Yeah.
did not have
Yeah.
seatbelts
We
ever
ran
worn.
CJ5s out here with bus seats up on the fender wells, kids hold on the row bar. But yeah, I
Yeah,
have 4 kids, and quail is, we do quail and dove here. Dove's real big here during the
yeah.
season. And it's great for the kids to get out, get a lot of experience out hunting, practice their handling a firearm while walking and doing stuff, with deer hunts and out here getting drawn. I haven't been drawn for the last 2 years for our rifle deer. So
Should
getting
we
out with
take a
the kids,
moment of silence?
what's that?
Should we take a moment of silence for the
Yeah,
draw odds?
third year's a charm. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I
so
hope
coming
so.
up soon. But yeah, the bird hunting is just great because out here and where it is proximity to my house, it takes me 35 minutes to get out to camp. We leave it set up. Kids get out; they get to get that experience every weekend almost. Out shooting, and of course, my kids are all outfitted with Gators. They get the latest and greatest. What's
Now
great thing is I
those are
have
lucky kids.
yeah, yeah, they are. So I have kids ranging from 7, my little girl, up to 15, and I'm actually able to mold these to their head, and they stay on and keep them protected out there.
Yeah, and that's something that I initially noticed with Gators and I said 2015, and you said we were been around quite a bit longer than that. Like
Yeah,
1989 was when it was
yeah,
launched.
yeah.
So but there was you guys started out the first time I saw Gators. I think you guys were handing out I think they were Raptors
Hmm.
at SHOT Show Range Day, and it was just this little bitty booth,
Yeah.
and I'm like Gators, and then you look at them, and it's like metal sunglasses, and I'm like, man, for the shooting sports, these are brilliant. I mean, because you think of the ruggedness and the torture we put our glass through, and that's something that I wish I had as a child because, like, to this day, I remember getting peppered in the field. Like, sometimes it just happens. Like, we avoid that at all cost, but sometimes a little shell rains down on you through the woods.
Oh yeah, yeah. Especially out here during dove season, it's along the orchards, and you're constantly getting rained on. So having that
Yeah.
protection is important for everybody out there participating in it.
Yeah, and it gets me thinking, and we had a great chance to visit on now you guys have a big booth on the show floor, like so you can see how far you guys have come in the shooting industry,
Yeah,
which
we've
is
been
really
really
cool.
fortunate with that. And we
Yeah,
put a lot of effort in, to design. So I mean, more than just the protective aspect, good quality lenses and polarization, all that stuff plays an effect out hunting, especially with the sun low, different lighting conditions, and it just contrast, different filters, colors. It allows you to see more, and see what's going on out there. Especially for me out in the desert, I do a lot of spot and stock. So I mean, we're out on the glass and trying to get up on stuff, and you're looking at stuff way out there. So having that contrast between different backgrounds, and especially in that arid background of the desert, scenery, it having a
yeah.
good quality eyewear that's going to keep you protected, but also it gives you an advantage of being able to have those contrasts and pick out stuff you may not have seen with a naked eye through your glass.
Yeah, and that's something to think about, and that's something that I don't think many hunters think of because, when I was growing up, I sound like an old guy podcast right now. Like, oh, back in my day when I was, no, like I swear, like I'm not that old, but I still have a good enough memory to like reflect
Yeah.
and try to learn. So my kids don't have to go through the same trials and tribulations that I did. But I remember going out without any hearing protection, and
Oh
then,
yeah.
you know, teenage years, and all of a sudden you're like, "Man, I really need hearing protection." And then now you start wearing that, but you never and I don't know why this is because think about it. You go out in the field, you take a pellet to the eye,
Mhm.
and now you've lost vision in that eye.
Yep.
And now, I mean, the potential for you enjoying your experience every day in the field is gone. Like, I mean, you're not going to have the same fulfillment seeing through both eyes or whatever it is, you lose that.
Yeah, you lose that depth perception, losing that instant. You only get one set of those. And
Yeah.
it's funny, you look growing up and even, not too long ago, the importance of in any activity they're out doing it with firearms, out hunting at the range, typically like I said, the range, you're always had some eye pro on, but you're out hunting doing the same thing. And it's even for us out riding around in the desert in the Jeeps and, rangers and stuff and out hunting, there's all kinds of stuff. You get hit with a branch, we're down in some washes and get pretty tight,
Yeah. How many
So,
times are you walking through the woods and your buddy sits there and grabs a branch and swings it and your head's down looking at the tracks, and then all of a
yeah,
sudden you look up and you got a branch in your face?
yeah.
I mean, all the time. And hey, look, turkey season is coming up, folks. And if you're moving and you're stalking through the woods, like there is something that you're going to need, and it's glass.
Yeah,
So
for sure. It's
it
protection
just
all the
shocks
time.
me, like thinking back on the stupid stuff I did as a kid, like just stupid.
Yeah, for sure. I look at my kids and they do stuff every now and then, and I'm just like, well, they're not half of the stupid stuff we did. So they're
They're
doing
like,
all right. They've learned
but
something
yeah,
from my
you sit there and
mistakes.
you could look back on it and you go, well, I mean, I survived, but I mean, by the skin of my teeth.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's an interesting thing about. How about this? Let's jump in here real quick. We're going to take a real quick break. Hear a word from our sponsor, and then on the backside of this, I want to get into like your ANSI ratings and what should people look for in glasses for the field. All right, this is brought to you by Ruger. Thank you for your support, Ruger.com. Have you heard about the Hawkeye Long Range Hunter, available in 6.5 PRC and 6.5 Creedmoor? I know what you're saying right now. The 6.5 Creedmoor, that's not the long range hunt. Hey, the sucker shoots. LC6, adjustable trigger. It's smooth, it's crisp, it's nice and light, giving you exactly what you need to make those long range hits. All right, 20 MOA Picatinny rail on top, so you can mount all your great optics up there. Probably I would recommend like a 3 to 18. That's probably going to be your best bet if you're going to do those long range shooting applications in the field. But let me just break here for a service announcement. If you're going to take up long range hunting, you think that's the route you want to go, take this Ruger Hawkeye out to the range quite a bit, because things happen in the field that you don't see every day on the range. Okay. An animal takes a step. You need to be as proficient as possible. So if you're going to take up long range hunting, hit the range first. Get your work in there. Take the Hawkeye out for a spin at Ruger.com. All right, we're back with Mr. Scott Melton of Gatorz Eyewear, and I'm telling you, you need to go look them up, Gatorz.com. That's Gatorz with a Z. Gatorz with a Z. Don't forget that, because it's important to get you the right spot. I don't want you looking at Louisiana Gators or anything like that.
Yeah.
I don't know where that'll take you. Yeah. So Scott, we kind of talked about like growing up and the importance of like, or at the time we didn't think it was that important, but it was really important. Saving your eye protection in the field, and good ways to do that. You can, I'll tell you this much. You can go on to Amazon right now and you can buy, I don't know, 20 pairs of really crappy, ill-fitting glass for $10, let's say. Yeah. Not going to have the same effect that a pair of Gatorz will, because I've been wearing Gatorz, especially on the range, and they mold to your head. They fit well. They slide nicely under a flat brim. I will say that they do. That's good. But Scott, Gators are pretty, they're almost specialized for use in the field. And that's what, and you guys offer it seems like a million different styles.
Yeah, we have quite a few different styles, and it's definitely the starter Gators. and what every product has. It can look good and it can have some lifestyle component, but it has to be functional. And when you're talking about just pure functionality in the wraps and using aluminum, and that's why we back them with a lifetime frame warranty, is, this is an investment in eyewear. It needs to last, and whatever gets thrown at you that day, it has to last, whatever you're out doing. The other thing is with it made with really thin aluminum, the adjustability, but also ear pro. So when you're out on the range, you got over the ear, you don't get that pressure and headache there. And that's some big deals beyond that is we put a lot of work into design and every little detail of that. And through our production, there's this mix of technology with CNC machining and is, going through heat treating. And then that kind of artisan touches, they're all hand assembled. So every single of these 16 rivets is put in by hand, nose pieces.
Oh, wow.
So this goes through several different operations, a lot of care, as far as everything, inspecting and make sure everything's quality. Because at the end of the day, like what we're talking about, it has to protect you too. You need it to function, it has to protect you, and then you want to look good also. And so trying to incorporate all those, but always that functionality and protection aspect of it. And then when you get in the lenses, it's a whole different world of things. And a lot of people overlook that when you're buying the cheaper stuff. You put those up on like our optics benches, and your resolution, your clarity isn't there.
Yeah.
You're not going to have good scratch resistant with the correct hard coats, and filtering, being able to filter out and have those different contrasts is, important. So as we're doing that, we're purpose building sunglasses that are for protection and function for different functions, whether it's a military application, whether it's to be out in the field, whether it's on the range shooting with some special contrast lens, allow you to acquire those targets fast, or just general outdoor for sunny, cloudy days, in the woods, different colors and bases in there that will help you identify and have a good perception of everything around you to really pick out things.
Man, it is specialized. And just looking at it, and I was sitting here and I was like, oh my gosh, I like a story came to my mind is, I was younger, college days, and your eyes are always kind of shifting, and my eyes were actually getting worse. I ended up having the LASIK surgery, which turned out to be awesome, just to restore my sight. And the doc was looking through my eye, and he was like, oh my gosh, you have a giant scar on your eye. Like, he's like, you don't see any creases, or you don't have any blurred vision. And I was like, no, huh? He goes, man, that's a miracle. He goes, like, cause he goes, the scar is like really deep. And I was racking my brain on like, well, what was that? What could have done? And I remember, I was in a pretty wicked car accident, and not wearing any glass. I was wearing sunglasses, and windshield broke. I busted out like the side window with my head, and the glass from my sunglasses went through it scratched that eye. Didn't think much of it at the time. It was just like, man, I guess I got a piece of glass in, rubbing it out. That's a daily use thing.
Yeah.
Where glass, like the type of glass you're using matters.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. So with Gatorz, that's, obviously we talked about protection. Every single pair of Gatorz, the lens we put in are polycarbonate lens, and all of those have to meet an internal, standard that we have for ourselves. And that is that no matter what frame, if it's a lifestyle frame, doesn't have the wrap. So for ANSI's 87, you have to have side coverage, which is basically your high wrap frames.
Right.
Along with that is impact for both high mass and high velocity. And one of the things we do at Gatorz is every single pair of sunglasses we make, that lens that we're putting in there, in that frame, and that combination of being able to retain that impact and not shatter, every pair has to pass, whether it's a lifestyle, whether it's our top of the line ballistics, where you're up at a frame that can withstand 100 or 720 feet per second from a 15 caliber, or just our general deltas, much like the style I have here, which is kind of a lifestyle piece here. That same lens we're putting in there is going to have that impact resistance to withstand ANSI impacts. No matter what you're doing, anything that's coming at you, you want to be protected. And what you're talking about is with you walk into Amazon, you're buying those cheaper glasses. What a lot of people don't realize is how thin that lens is in there, especially polarized. I've seen them down 0.6 millimeter. really thin. And something comes at that thing's, going to disintegrate, and that's end up what you're talking about. It ends up in your eye. So instead of protecting you, it's actually been more, of a shotgun blast and damage of taking one
Yeah.
little projectile and, put it into a bunch of different
God,
slivers.
it's
Yeah.
frustrating to think about. I mean, because you just save a few more bucks, and you have protection, and that's what we all want, and especially moving forward. And you guys offer clear versions, which that got me to thinking, why don't I wear? Because I can wear it all the time on the range, but why can't I wear it in the field? And the number one thing is, one, it's not comfortable, to wear glasses in the field and stuff
Yeah.
like that, and they usually don't look that great.
Mhm.
But you get the best of both worlds. Now so when people go on to Gatorz.com and they're selecting, their styles and their lenses, what recommendations do you have, like in a hunting application? Like, what should they be looking for?
So for a hunting application, polarized is great. And just our standard smoke or brown polar are great. Uh, Really great for glare reduction, especially for mornings, evenings. If you're into the sun, that terrain, it can become very hazed over and hard to see. That glare reduction of polarized will really benefit you there. There are some advantages in certain situations with the mirrors because they have different base colors, but then you have a reflective mirror. So
Right.
the ones I always go to are that polarized are great. The other one, if polar adds an added benefit, but if you're looking for one pair, it's going to last you all day long. Are transitional, like mil-spec ballistic ones. So that's
Okay.
clear to dark. So throughout the day, no matter the clouds come in, that light, it's going to adjust so that you have that coverage. You're not getting blinded by the sun and still have that protection. So that's for you're walking in early in the morning, you got clear pair on and, sun's coming up. You've got that, your eye pro adjusting as that sun comes up, reducing that glare.
That's a good idea. Like I think that's probably the better option. It would be a better overall choice for shooters and hunters is
Yeah, for
a
sure. Especially
transition
hunting
lens.
out in the field all day, not having to carry extra pairs
Yeah.
or forego that protection as you're walking in. And that's, as you're talking about walking through the woods, that's probably the most important time to have your eyewear on is going in there underneath the red light, real low light, situation. And, you're not gonna be able to see really well trying to get into your spot and
Well,
get whacked
see,
really easy.
I'm one of those guys that's very stubborn on his light use, and so I usually do not turn on a flashlight or any type of light, and I just go.
Yeah.
Like, I just go, and that's probably a bad thing to do. And Scott's gonna get mad at me, but I like, even in like walking my dog in the morning, like I'm sitting there and I got attacked. Like, I kid you not, I got attacked by a limb this morning. Like, I mean, walked straight into it. I was so mad at myself. It's like, well, I was mad at my dog first because he
And
walked
did
me
you have
into it.
your glasses on?
No, I didn't have my glasses on, and that was what's frustrating about it. Because I'm sitting here talking about, hey, you got to protect your eyes, and then oh, how'd you hurt your eyes? Well, I was walking my dog. Like, totally not a good story to tell. Not a good story to tell.
No, not at all. And that,
But
that's the thing is you kind of form that habit of, thinking about that no matter what you're doing. And that's kind of, some of the deals of just being prepared for anything in life. Anything happens on any day, iPro, and that's the great things of Gatorz, that I found. So when I actually started with this company almost 11 years ago, I wasn't in the eyewear industry. I'd worked out at local proving grounds here and doing some other stuff in the Yuma area. And I was a gas station sunglass guy, like cheap
yeah,
stuff, just whatever. I was horrible about it. And it was really enlightening once I got into the industry and I started learning. I was, wow, I mean, there's so much stuff I didn't know, just protection wise, we're talking protection, but just even down to the
yeah.
lens technologies, how much advantages it can, give to you having these good quality lenses that have good filtering capabilities and producing these contrasts to see things. Never would have thought about it. And it's funny now looking back, coming from that guy, it just looking at it, to me, it's night and day. I can automatically identify, these products and just like, wow, just not educated on it.
So I have a question. Why is it that when you get a good pair of sunglasses, really good pair, you always lose them, and then you go by and you buy a cheap pair of gas station sunglasses like you're talking about, and you cannot lose them.
Yeah.
Is there some magic going on there?
I don't know. I don't think so. A lot of it may just be educating yourself a little bit, or take a pair, two pair, try them, look through them, and understanding, that more than the value of this, the money you spent,
Yeah.
there's an advantage to having this stuff, this quality stuff. Maybe take care. But it is. I'm horrible at losing sunglasses. I get a little bit better deal than most people. So but I'm still horrible at losing sunglasses.
I'll tell you what. So I was in the fishing industry. This is a funny story. So I was in the fishing industry years before this. I mean, that's where I was doing all my PR work, marketing work, and stuff like that. And I sat there and I spent the money on what at the time that I thought, man, these Costa Del Mar sunglasses, they've got, custom lenses or whatever they are, the nicest thing you could, like, they were like, I don't know, $400 sunglasses.
Yep.
The next weekend, jet skiing, bye-bye sunglasses. I was so upset. I was like, you got to be kidding me. Like, I spent all this money and I gone at the bottom of the lake. No tether on them, nothing. I was mad.
Yeah, you got to get a tether.
Oh yeah, get a tether. Tether.
Yeah, I had a boat over in San Diego, did fishing stuff off of. I don't know how many off the back of the boat I've dropped at the bottom of the ocean. Well, then I finally started getting floaties on them. And even, this is while I'm working for Gatorz. I even had a steady supply, relatively cheaper. Nothing.
Right. Well, it's important to note.
I got to get some floaties on these things.
Yeah, Gators do sink. Like sunglasses sink, people. Like, come on.
But I will tell you, our ammo can.
Yes, I was about to bring this up.
Yeah. So, it was a sunglass case we developed about 1.5 years ago, and we're working with the design team and design something cool, unique, and something fitting to our brand. And we're going through a bunch of different pictures, and we had an ammo can. I was like, that's what we're going to make, is an ammo can. They went to work on it, and then they started, designing one that was kind of aesthetically looked kind of cool, but it lacked all the features. And what I said is, like, I grew up with these things. These things were everywhere. We have first aid kits, food, your rounds, everything's held in it, toolboxes, everything was in these. I said, I want Honey, I Shrunk the Ammo Can. I want the real deal. So the team did a great job, and we ended up having to go to an ammo can manufacturer to get this done. This is a legitimate Honey, I Shrunk It. It's just men's size. But the cool thing about it, because we did that, we put a actual rubber gasket in it, so it's watertight. This thing will float. So
it floats.
It floats. No kidding. Yeah. So it's got enough buoyancy in it because it's watertight. You can actually get it to float.
Okay. So for our folks not watching on the social networks and all across our channels, what Scott is showing is a legit shrunken ammo can to hold your sunglasses.
Yeah.
Like, it's a legit ammo can, like, designed to house your Gatorz sunglasses. It is brilliant. Like, that was one of the things that, so when I first saw it, I was at Smith & Wesson's SHOT Show range day. Yeah. And I walk up and I'm like, oh my gosh, there's just this big pile of Gatorz, like, boxes. And I'm like, that's an ammo can. I was like, what's in it? Like, so I open it up, I'm like, nothing's in it, but sunglasses are gonna go in it. It's hilarious. It's awesome, and we all know and love the ammo can.
Yeah. It's funny that these here are just like a regular ammo can. This is intended to be a sunglass case, but we made the foam insert come out. These are what my kids roll around. They put their 22 shells in. So we were out in the desert. They all got their little ammo can set up there on the stand, and they got open their ammo can with their 22 shells in it.
Man, it's smart stuff. I'm telling you. Man, I'm actually cruising around on the website. Man, you guys offer Magnum float foam inserts.
Yeah.
So what's that? What are those for?
So that's a foam insert that actually clips on the inside of the Magnums. We have a couple for Spectre, another one coming out here real soon also. What that is a dust guard. So if you're, in situations where you're going to be exposed to blowing dust, it's a insert that goes on, it's removable, real easy, couple seconds, snap on. and it provides an entire seal around your face. So semi sort of a goggle, allows you to take your standard eyewear. So let's say you're out, out hunting like I am in the desert, and we're getting from spot to spot. I have a Ranger. You got that wind and dust blowing. And if you're following a buddy, you pop those in, and it's like a goggle.
Really?
Yeah.
I could see so much use for those out in Oklahoma because the wind is always blowing.
Yeah.
I mean, it just is. Or just get something that wraps. If you
Yeah.
get a good sunglass that wraps, I mean, that would be great.
Yeah,
That
and
would
the Magnum themselves are, a wrap. The Spectres give you that kind of protection, and the
Yeah.
Raptors also.
Yeah, the Spectres is the Spectre a new design for you guys?
Yeah, that one came out in 2021. So that one's it's kind of a crossover. So it's got
Yep.
a lot of lifestyle, but it's got that wrap and protection. So it's available in a full mil spec ballistics, and that's at
Yeah.
720 feet per second impact rating. Yeah, so that, and we came out with the one I got on my head here, which has become my new favorite, is the Marauder, just this last year. Same
Yeah.
thing, a lot of wrap lifestyle components to it, and we really thinned out the temples, which just a lot less pressure area there,
Yeah.
and just a lot easier for a consumer to take and manipulate and really fit it perfect to their head.
I'm looking through your website and I don't see a lot of glasses that don't really wrap. I mean, I feel like you get a really good, I mean, maybe aside from the Skyhook, which is kind of your Tom Cruise special. I mean, it's more of an aviator style of glass. But I mean, other than that, they all look like they wrap fairly good.
Most of them. So the Delta is another one. So that's a square one. That one is a lifestyle. But the
Yeah.
same thing with that. It doesn't have the side protection for ANSI, but we actually have this with mil spec ballistic lenses in it. So
Okay.
it's still highly effective at that front coming at you, and being able to withstand anything that's at it. And we got a couple other designs working on be coming out later this year and next year, expanding that lifestyle line a little bit. Same, but at the same core, we make it right here in USA. It's got to be durable and stand up, and it has to be impact resistant. It has to be, possess that capability of protecting you if something comes at your eyeballs.
Yeah, I mean that's the important thing to do is protect them. What about the folks that need a prescription?
Yeah, so we offer in all of our frames, we offer prescription. In some of the higher wraps, you're limited on the power prescription. Filling a prescription with a high wrap frame becomes more difficult. But we do still in our Magnums and all our high wraps, it's just a little bit less power. You can go to our website. We have it on the website. You can go to our RX site. You can actually go build your pair, what color frame you want, what style, what lens, and they'll give you the information there on what that range is within your prescription that you'll need. Order it right there on our website. So
yeah, well, that's awesome, man. Anything else you want to provide with us? I mean, we could talk about getting hit in the face with limbs a lot more because that always happens.
Yeah. I know, check us out. We always have we always have something new coming out. We're putting a lot of development in lens technologies. Also, we've got some good things coming up. One we didn't talk about though is OPZ. I don't know if you've looked at OPZ. So that's what OPZ stands for. It's a name for us is optimized polar. One thing a lot of people with polar, one of the biggest problems people have with polar is with digital displays. Blacking out digital displays, your GPS, different watches, even some of your older iPhones and stuff like that, or even the dash in your car. So with traditional polarized, it blacks out that. What we developed was a optimized polarization. And so it gives you that glare reduction, but it still allows you to see all those different digital displays, which out in the field, if you're using a GPS, stuff like that, you're still going to get that benefits of polar glare reduction and contrast, but you'll still be able to utilize your digital display devices. And so that one's been really successful. A lot of people liking that. We'll be coming out this year with some more options to it. Right now, it's just in all of our frames in a smoke color, but we've developed some new colors for that lens and filtering categories to expand that line that's been really taken off with people and like that polar glare reduction and be able to still read a digital device, especially nowadays out hunting. I mean, there's so much digital involved in hunting and all that.
Yep. Hey, man, all different frame colors too. I mean, you guys are given options for everything, and especially you go in here, you select a polar, you select your lens color, then even the frame colors have, you got your, I guess your tan Cerakotes and
Yep.
you got American flag logos and stuff like that. So it's great to be able to customize. You're almost kind of customizing your glass with your lifestyle.
Yeah, for sure. And we all throughout the year have a lot of special editions, doing special engravings. And what you mentioned earlier, something I didn't mention earlier, is we use a lot of Cerakote, and that coating on the glasses is such a durable ceramic coating. It's great, and it also is just kind of an insulator with that ceramic coating on there. Been a great addition. We started doing in the last 4 or 5 years, and transitioned to most of our line to Cerakote. It's been a great product for us.
It's amazing what they're doing nowadays with coatings. It really is. I mean,
Yeah.
whether it's glass, whether it's aluminums. I mean, it's really phenomenal what they've been able to do to make them more durable and last like legit a lifetime.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and that's with ours, that's important. That's you're buying a pair of eyewear that frame needs to last you a lifetime. And then of course, lenses get scratched. It's inevitable. We put a really good hard coat on there. Put a lot of development in that too. But when that frame's still good. We have a lens replacement program. We call it lens replacement, but the reality is it's not really just lens replacement. You go on our website, you set it up, give you a label, you send it back into us. It's more of a refurbished unit. So we take these literally ultrasonic, clean them, go through the whole product, pop the lenses out, nose piece needs to replace, icons, anything needs to be fixed. And if there's something majorly wrong with it, we're going to go back to customer and say, hey, we identified there's something here. We'll replace it. So that's the thing with investing with these eyewear is, that frame is made to last a lifetime.
Yeah.
And then the ability to put in new lenses, but get it refurbished, get a new nose piece on it.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm telling you, companies know how to do customer service. Like people are indebted to them, and it sounds like you guys have it squared away.
Yeah, it's actually in our brand values. So with our internally, it's customer first always, and it's just taking care of that customers. And I grew up, dealing with a lot of customer service stuff for my grandfather and their businesses, and so it's always been something to me that's very important. Is taking care of your customer.
That's awesome. Scott, man, I appreciate you being on here, and we'll definitely get you taken care of, and we'll need to get out to the field, go hunt some quail.
Yeah, we have to wait a little bit now, but definitely.
Yeah, now it is. Now we'll have to wait, but we need to set something up.
Yeah, for sure. We'll have to get together and do something.
All right, Scott with Gatorz. Gun Talk Hunters, you know the drill. Man, keep those muzzles pointing in a safe direction. Now you need to wear some eye protection always, and always be on the hunt.